right. Hold on. Make sure. Okay. No, that's not it. Make sure we're live everywhere first before I start yapping away. Wait, did I? Hold on. Am I live? Is the question now. Okay. I don't. Let me look at the chat really quick to see. Oh, people are popping up in the chat. Hello, Creative Play and Podcast Network. I don't think I'd seen you before, so thank you for subscribing to. I saw you did that earlier. Of course, it does not want to. Okay, so we're live on Rumble currently. Network. I don't think I'd seen you before, so. Oh, and of course, there's that buffer message. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure because sometimes there's a weird lag on this thing. For some reason, it's not letting me pull myself up on YouTube for some reason. No clue why. But I guess, yeah, since you're watching from YouTube, I must be live on YouTube. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Hunter, a.k.a. the Ultra American TTRPGer, or as I like to call myself sometimes, the Jim Jones of Classic Gaming, which is a whole joke in itself. And if you haven't heard that story, well, you gotta scroll back a few videos, because I know I've explained it several times. But it is Friday evening. It is the weekend, thank goodness, after this crazy week that we have had. But it's time we're going to do some... it's also kind of weird. I'd say lighthearted, but given the game we're talking about, it's also eerily fitting at the same time. But we're not going to go down that route. We're going to have a fun racing through the dawn, as I titled this, because let me bring our guest here tonight because he's going to tell us about his yet another successful backer kit crowdfunding that he did. So everyone say hello to, if I can get him back in. Uh-oh, where is, show camera. Here we go. Uh-oh, your camera's not there, Tony. There you are.
Good.
All right, tell everyone who you are.
For those who don't know me, which I'm looking at the names, I know most of you. I'm Tony Garcia. I'm the creator of It's Apocalyptic Good Time. Thank you. I'm the creator of Dystopian Dawn, which is a fantasy and sci-fi role-playing game set in the post-apocalypse. The current known world is what's left of North America, but at the end of this year, phase one, as I like to call it, because, stuff needs names, will be done. And that'll be 6 source adventure books, 3 compendiums, the core book, and a couple adventure books that popped up as targets of opportunity. The recent books, yay! I can show you. Here's my prototype.
Yep.
There we go. Yep. There's the camera. This is the prototype. It's all black and white. So this is what I use at the conventions and what I scribble on as I'm playtesting. There's Vikings and Robots.
Yep.
These covers are not final. My buddy Ken, who's done several covers, the one he did Cowboys and Mutants, the one you just held up.
Ken, yeah, this one.
Yeah, Ken did the art for that. He's going to do the cover for Death Race. And then Roman Solifane, I think is his name on Twitter, is going to do the cover for Vikings and Robots.
Okay.
And then the other ones I've got coming out are Compendium Volume 1, Creature Catalog Volume 1, and Who in the Dawn. What each of the source adventure books do is they take an area of the map and they expand the lore. They add new creatures, new magic, new nationalities, because there's only humans. Have a nice day. Until next year when I do Dystopian Mythos and I introduce Fae. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, so each of the source adventure books targets an area and expands the game lore, where you could play them as a full-blown campaign, or since I write everything very GM-friendly because I'm a gamer, you can take pieces and go, I just want a one-shot, I'm going to grab this scenario. And I write it like that on purpose. So if there's parts of, a particular book you don't want to use, don't use it. But I encourage you to use it all because, So Death Race, Danger Zone was the first one, and that was in the Nether. And then, hey, awesome. The Secrets of Sacred Mountain was the second.
This one.
Yay, which is heavily steeped in Native American lore. And I actually bounced it off of a dude who he and his dad used to go around teaching Native American lore. So I
The
bounced
only
everything off him.
time that a sensitivity person was actually used properly, I
Not
would
so much
say.
sensitivity. I just wanted to make sure that I got, because we actually merged like three or four different languages to come
Mm.
up with the terms in the book, and I wanted to make sure, I wasn't screwing something up. So yeah, I wouldn't say sensitivity, but I still a fantasy edge, but I wanted to have a little bit of respect. I want to be a dick. How's that? Um, and let's see, the next was Time Warped, which was where I open up all of the secrets of Paradisium that are teased in the GM's guide and the player's guide, because you'll see an entry for an area and it says redacted by security agent.
Yep.
That's on purpose because I knew the write-up was going to be ginormous.
And it was about when you started working on this was when you and I had first started talking, because I got to help play test it, because still my favorite part of the book, that whole playing chess with the sea monkeys.
The surf lemurs, that actually started as a joke. I scribbled it one day. We were all talking about sea monkeys, and so I scribbled a mutant sea monkey on like my notepad, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's awesome! It needs to be in the game." And I went, "Okay, I need to create a scenario just for this." And that's it. Spread from there, and then Cowboys and Mutants was the next one, and that expanded Alamex, and then went into New Rome. And through each of the other books, including the core books, I hint at how they all think that New Rome is this militant and they're expanding their territories. It's not a hint. It's true. They're doing it. Have a nice day. Mm-hmm. Vikings and Robots expands from there all the way up into Samerica and also into the water. And each one also tackles different tech levels, different magic, et cetera, et cetera. Vikings and Robots ramps up the tech. So I've got pre-nuclear submarines, I've got airships, I've got all kinds of crazy stuff is introduced in Vikings and Robots,
which I also got to help playtest as well, because I was not available at the time when you were doing the Cowboys and Mutants playtesting, but I did playtest Vikings and Robots a little bit. So I was, because for Time Warp I was I forget the character's name, but I was basically playing him like a Zap Brannigan type character from Futurama, yes, where it's like, I am here and I shall solve everything kind of looking dude, which led to somehow me being successful, ? With the sea lemur encounter.
You went underwater in a space EV suit and played checkers with the surf lemurs. It was hilarious.
And I could not communicate with them at all. It was basically like a big game of charades I was basically doing with the sea lemurs. And then for Vikings and Robots, I made a new character. I was actually made a character, and I was Gorm the Barbarian.
Well, we've still got time on Death Race. I'm still running some playtests, so if you can pop in over the next couple of months.
Yeah, because I think I ended up having to step out because I was doing some other stuff at the time when we were just arrived and watching some of the death races, because Gorm got completely wasted on the free refill drinks.
Well, they just in Death Race, the big group that's playtesting, because I ran a few recently at the Tucson Comic Con, a few smaller scenarios that are in the book, one of which involves killer clown raiders, which scared the living crap out of one of the playtesters. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah. So for some reason the Rumble chat's not showing up here on the restream, so I got to open up on my phone. But my buddy Spartan287 is I forget where I first met him from, or I think it was on a different stream we were just interacting with, and he was asking he was asking what game it was. I told him Dystopian Dawn, and he's like, looked it up, sounds awesome. I was thinking of running a Fallout game. Would the system work for that world?
Here, let me give you the greatest quote I ever got from a player I met at a convention. It's now on my website. Dystopian Dawn. It's like if Fallout and Skyrim had an angry baby and they raised it in Borderlands. So the answer to your question is yes. I'm a big Fallout fan.
Yeah, or Mad Max, because that artwork that I used for that thumbnail was I just typed in like Mad Max Racing, and that was one of the, like, I don't know who made it. I just saw it on Googled it, saw it. I'm like, oh, I'm using that for the thumbnail. So
in the other books I'm putting out are the 3 compendiums. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm not a jerk. The Compendium Volume 1, there's some rules that have popped up in some variants over the last 3 years since I first launched that kind of make things a little smoother, and some just expanded cool stuff like additional mutation tables, things like that. As well as what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the extra rules that came out in the 6 source adventure books, putting it in one. All of the new nationalities, because I think there are 4 that popped up over the last 6 books that you can now play, including beast mutants, which I introduced in Time Warped. So you can
Yeah.
actually play a monkey mutant. So these are animals that mutated to bipedal, vice a human that has animalistic mutations. So kind of TMNT, plug in there because I love that.
Mhm.
So all of that is going to go on one book. And the reason I'm doing that as opposed to doing, a player's guide version 1.5 is because, I'm just going to cuss. I think it's a dick move when companies do that. It's like, here's the player's guide you just bought, a couple years ago with, an extra 50 pages, and I'm going to charge you $75 for it. So I'd rather just put it into a compendium it's probably going to be about 130 pages for, 20, $25. I think that's a more wallet friendly approach. And then the creature catalog is the same kind of concept. I'm taking all of the monsters from the GM's guide, where I have an entire section of creatures and all the animals, expanding the information on it, expanding the mutation tables, because yes, all my monsters and animals can be mutated, and adding all the new creatures that popped up over the different books, including the mini adventures, and a few new ones and some new art, and putting that into one book. And then Who in the Dawn is all of the NPCs, including custom NPCs that were created by backers that are part of the lore now. Those are all going to go in this book, separated by territory. And the reason I'm doing that is A, it's again cost effective for anyone who wants it. B, it's GM friendly. So instead of having to comb through 7 books to find that one monster that you want to use, it's in one. So there's my plug. Bam.
Yep. And so, because we're talking about Cowboys and Mutants, it's basically I don't know why I think of the that Cowboy versus Aliens movie that came out back in like the early 2000s.
It's a fun
So
movie.
it's just it's like one of those good. It's not, it wasn't like the best, but it's not like a horrible either. It's a good movie to just put on TV if you want something to watch, kind of deal. Plus it's that James Bond actor that's in it, and he's a good actor too,
Daniel
so that
Craig.
makes up for it. Yeah, Daniel Craig. And so and I actually honestly I haven't flipped through that much, so I just now noticed that you signed my Cowboys and
Sure.
Mutants copy. I didn't realize you did that. So
I try to, anyone who orders books from me, or either through the backer kit or even through my website, I ask them if they want me to sign it. If I know you, I sign it anyway. So that way each book is individual.
So by the time I look as old as you do, they're going to be worth thousands.
My only regret is I only have 2 middle fingers to share with you.
That's kind of like the running joke between us, because the first time we did this was when we were doing that episode for my podcast that I was running at the time. And the joke was Sensei and Young Grasshopper. So to make it too easy. Sometimes,
Well, I've only been doing role-playing games since 1980.
Yeah. And then it's funny for me because it's like I started with like some modernized games, and I've like been slowly going backwards to where I don't know if you've seen me talk about this game, but I've been playing a Zero E retro clone called Barrows in Borderlands.
Okay.
And it's very much that same, kind of similar to this, except more it's more of that fantasy stuff mixed in. So there's dwarves and halflings. They don't have elves. They have this race called Starborn, which are like basically if you took an elf and gave it like space skin, it would be one way to put it. Like it looks like their skin is made from the star system, basically. Is how I would describe it.
Phase 1 of Dystopian Dawn, I do introduce Fae, especially more in Vikings and Robots. You find out where they've been hiding.
Yeah,
And
you did mention Fae one time. That's right.
But I kept them. There's a reason I kept them separate. I mean, you can find them here and there because they're highly susceptible to radiation, and there's a whole massive story behind them. Next year, phase 2, I'm launching 2 new world books: Dystopian Mythos, which is Europe 500 years after the apocalypse.
I was about to say, didn't you? I was going to say, didn't you? I think the last time we talked about this, did you say there was like you were going to introduce some other continents where there were like other creatures as well?
I've got a buttload of stuff in the works. So Dystopian Mythos, I'm going to try, and it's going to be my main target for next year because it's going to be a big book. It's where I'm taking all of the Fae, and we're not talking Tolkien Fae. We're talking old school, like Grimm fairy tales, like old European folklore, and working that into my fantasy setting. And it's still 500 years after the apocalypse. So all of these different books, they all have the same timeline. They're just different areas. So this is kind of flips the script where North America, which is what Dystopian Dawn is now, is a mixture of fantasy, mid-tech, steampunk, high-tech, etc. Where Mythos is going to be high fantasy, very low tech. So that's where you're going to get your predominant swords and sorcery, and the highest tech on what's left of Europe will be steam, and that's created by gnomes and dwarves, predominantly gnomes. So with that, I'm creating, I think, 12 new nationalities for player characters: elves, gnomes, dryads, pixies, the whole nine yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think even giant kid and some other shit. So all of that's going to be next year. After that, the next world book will be Dystopian Space, which is what it answers the question of a group that escaped the apocalypse and terraformed Mars, and what does that look like 500 years later?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a whole history of how it was terraformed, which it's going to be a lot of drones and crazy stuff. I'm doing a lot of wild research into stuff that's actually going on, and it'll be heavily influenced by some of my favorite things: Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, etc. Lots of Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars kind of influence, and I'm working on those. Those are going to be two big ones. The smaller ones. Go ahead.
I recently got my hands on, because I had the PDF. I got a physical book. It's called Warriors of the Red Planet, which is based entirely on the John Carter of Mars series. And I actually that was actually because Matthew Tapp, the guy who made Barrows and Borderlands, he does movie nights, and he just shows all these different movies. So some movies I've seen since I've been here. We saw last time I did movie night with him. I saw the Yellowbeard movie, which is basically that pirate.
Stumble, roll, stumble, fall. Are you showing all my son? I'm showing every woman I slept with.
It's basically Blazing Saddles, but pirate themed. Is the vibes that I got from it.
That's a classic.
Yeah, and then I've also seen it was an anime called Hunter D Bloodlust. So that was the anime that we watched. What else did I see? We also watched. I ended up watching. We watching John Carter of Mars one night, which I hadn't seen in a few years.
It's a great movie.
It's a long movie too. I didn't realize it was like it's an almost 3-hour movie. I think
it's about two and a half. Disney marketing screwed that movie so bad because it is such a fantastic movie.
It was really good. Yeah.
I mean, there's some deviations, but it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, and so I was actually telling the guys about your game earlier, trying to share the stream, because one of the things that Matthew likes to do is, there's the world that's Barrows of Borderlands is in, but then there's portals to other worlds, which is other games that the guys play. So one portal goes to Hyperborea, another one goes to Arduin. They're also doing
Arduin Grimoire.
Yeah, they also have
that was an excellent system.
They have good old school chainmail world that they go to for pure fantasy, and then I'm trying to see if I can maybe start running the Warriors of the Red Planet RPG for them, because it's basically white box still system, so all can be converted over. And we recently also did an Empires of the Petal Throne game, my very first one. I ended up sacrificing my my stats I rolled. You can watch the live stream at some point if you want. I rolled stats for it, did it live. So abysmal. He was this big fat fighter dude, basically. And I forgot what was it. Talked to the third person, and I ended up sacrificing him at the end to save the party. Right. Crushed the bridge, and the snake man and him fell into the lava pool below. So
it's funny you should mention portals in other worlds. In Vikings and Robots, I actually introduced the Fey portals. So you can actually go, depending on how well you play with the Fey, or if you wipe the Fey out, that's also an option. There's a portal that they've been trying to get back to the main realm where they came from, and where they brought magic, but they're blocked. And there's a whole story behind why they're blocked. Yeah, but their portal actually sends them to Europe, which will be Dystopian Mythos. So I put the breadcrumbs there for that. Also, I put the breadcrumbs in for Dystopian Space, which is the Mars, of plans they find in a safe after fighting a mummy who's yelling about wanting his TPS reports. That was a lot of fun. The plans talk about spaceships, rockets leaving from somewhere called Australia. And that's actually a book that I'm playing around with now called Dystopian Down Under, Monster Island. And that will give you more clues into it. I'm actually going to introduce kaiju.
No, I just had not just kaiju. I'm thinking like the Australian spiders become like
Oh yeah,
basically like
I have
dystopian Dawn version of Driders is what I'm thinking
40
about.
new monsters are going to be in that book, and they're all
Yeah.
based on Australian horrible freaking beasts of reality, only bigger. So with Death Race, I am introducing the Raiders for the first time because you see them in several books, but no one ever finds out where they're from. In Death Race Coast to Coast, you find out there's actually a Hollow Earth, and that's how the Raiders are never found. So there's after Death Race comes out, there'll be 4 new nationalities of the Raider tribes that you can actually play as characters. There are portals between the Hollow Earth to Monster Island to Dystopian Mythos, and I'm going to tap them into a few different locations. So each of these different areas that I'm building, I'm also doing Japan later on, which is going to be kind of a pulp noir slash 1950s slash superheroes type setting.
Oh, cool.
And it's a couple islands that survived the apocalypse in a dome, et cetera, et cetera. So you'll be able to pop to all these different areas if the GM wants to allow it. So you, in essence, maybe you make a Raider gunslinger from Alamex, and as time goes on, shit, I'm on Monster Island. Holy crap, is that guy driving a Chrysler? What is that guy jumping off a building? And so forth and so on. Eventually, make your way up to Mars, because remember, all of it's going to have the same time period. It's all 500 years roughly after the apocalypse, just different areas.
Yeah,
So
because I
I laughed
remember
when you said portals. I'm like, yay, because that's what I'm introducing.
I remember when you were running us through the time warp thing, which you called the one shot, but it ended up 6 hours and used up all my hotspot data that night at the time. So
Oh,
before I ended up buying more eventually, which I learned that after that was I'm getting frustrated. I'm like and I like in and out. I'm like, what year is it? And you're just kind of like, it's 2500 on Earth, and you just and like you said, the character walks away, and I'm just thinking like,
well, that was the fun I had with Time Warp. Very heavily influenced by Planet of the Apes because I'm a monkey fan. I don't care. So there's 2 different ways you can run Time Warp. One, you're the local, normal dystopian type character who's being answering a bounty to the ruler of Coastal to find these things called astronauts that have fallen from the sky.
mm-hmm.
The other is you can actually play the astronauts, and their backstory is that they escaped 1999, escaping the Y2K bug.
2K.
Uh-huh. Yep. But their spaceship, of course, stasis, frozen, timey-wimey stuff. They end up crash landing in what's left of Cape Canaveral. That's where you met the sea monkeys. That was what was left of Cape Canaveral. So if you guys actually crawled around and started scraping off walls, you would have found giant windows and, of course, mermaids and other horrible things underneath the water. But what it is the and I had a whole map of Cape Canaveral. The tourist area of Cape Canaveral is where you were, but it was underwater. And that's where the surf lemurs had made their home. So if you guys would have poked around, you would have found like old brochures and all kinds of crazy shit. There's little Easter eggs in every one of my books.
Yep. So I want Spartan asked a couple questions, so I want to make sure we got those here because I got Rumble pulled up my phone because it's not popping up on here. So but I think because all the popular political Rumble channels are like live and doing all their stuff right now, so I think they're keeping Rumble from working for me. So one question that Spartan asked was, "What was your favorite monster you designed for the system?"
Oh shit, that's a tough one.
There was I don't remember which book in it. For me, which one did you have your Thrycree looking guy in? Which book is that in?
It's in the GM's guide. It's the insectoids. I forget the name off the top of my head. Probably my all-time favorites. I like my liches because it started as a joke with one of the drawings I did, and it's become lore now. All my liches were bunny slippers.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you did that. Your Lich King.
And I actually introduced another lich in Vikings in Cowboys and Mutants. There's a Fallout vault that's beneath what's been turned into a Roman gladiator arena, and beneath it there's ancient laboratories run by a lich and a mummy. Man, my favorite monster. I don't know, man. I've got a lot. I did have fun in Cowboys and Mutants. I recreated the orcs.
Yep, I really like this artwork that you had for him because I remember the first time you showed him to me, I was like, that definitely was giving me off the old school vibes.
That's Deco Rafus Studios. He's a good dude.
Yep.
He doesn't really. He's done art since my first book. I try to make a point of always having him in there because I just love his style.
Yeah. And then the second question he asked was, did you ever play Twisted Metal for inspiration for Death Race?
I didn't play it. Oh, you mean the old video game? Yeah, I played it a long time ago.
Yeah.
My inspiration for Death Race actually comes from the old school Death Race movie, Death Race 2000, as well as
The
Mad
one with
Max.
Insane Clown Posse in it?
That's
Because they have Insane
oh
Clown
no,
Posse was
that
part
was
of
the
a Death
remake.
Race movie too. So
That was the remake. The original came out in the 70s. It had Sylvester Stallone and David Carradine. It's a big ball of cheese. It was produced by Roger Corman, the king of B movies. You should add that to your list of silly ass movies to watch. Death Race 2000.
I think Tubi had it, and I think I did save it on my list, so it's on there.
It's worth the watch. It's leave your brain at the door, but it's worth the watch. And it's funny. I think it was like one of Sylvester Stallone's, if not his first role. So it's a little bit of that, a little bit of Mad Max, some Twisted Metal would definitely be in there. I actually love the series. I
was about to ask if you had
watched
seen the
first
new
season.
Twisted Metal series they've been making around it.
I haven't seen season 2 yet, but I loved season 1. I thought they did a great job. Yeah, David Carradine was in the original.
Mhm.
They did a sequel to it before the remakes. I won't say it's good, but I own it because I'm a dork. But it's still fun to watch. Yeah, the remakes were okay, but they lost a lot of the charm that they had. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments. I agree. Richard's right. It's turn off your brain, enjoy the popcorn. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Spartan commented on a Rumble, Lich is wearing bunny slippers like he is Tony Soprano picking up his paper.
Here, I'll show you the new shirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that coming in?
Yep. I make sure to put that in the. Actually, let me type that in the chat. FracturedBrainStudios.com, right?
Yes. And I also have if you look up Dystopian Dawn on Fourth Wall, I've got a print on demand where a lot of shirts and mugs and other shit are. It's a lot easier just to get it there than for me to have stock and hope someone buys it. Here, I'll share something with you. These are the working covers for the new books. See if I can share this. All right, cool. It popped up. So these are the draft covers for the 5 new books that are in the current backer kit. They're not the final covers. So, like I said, Roman Solifane is going to do the cover for Vikings and Robots, and Ken Bowden is going to do Death Race for me. The Compendium Volume 1, that's pretty close to what I plan to do. The Creature Catalog, I'm actually going to do a kind of an homage to the Monster Manual, where I'm going to do a subterranean and an above with creatures above and below. So I'm playing around with that. And then Who in the Dawn, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that. It's going to be similar to that, but not exact. But these are the roughs. And like I said, you can see there's the prototype that I use at conventions. All right.
Yeah, so I was just curious because I was just looking through all my books really quick. You signed all except for Time Warped. You just did. That's the only one that wasn't signed. All my other books
I'm sorry, I suck.
You're fine. It's not that big a deal. I just thought it was funny. It's like, I make sure it's on all my books. I looked at them all. They're all signed except for the one that got me started with you, basically. Not that big a deal to me. It's like, these will be worth thousands. This, not so much.
Yeah, I'll give you the link to. I'm gonna pop it up.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about the haunted one. The haunting of the name escapes me already.
The Haunting of Crab Cove.
Because you made that one basically on the fly for Dungeon Delvers online convention that he did back in March, I think. No, back in May.
Yeah, back in May. Once I found out about it, I was like, hey, we started talking. He's like, hey, you want to run a game? I'm like, sure. How long do I have? He's like, 2 days. Shit. So the funny part was I had no idea what the hell I was going to run. I was like, well, I could pull something from one of the books. I'm like, well, that's kind of lame. And I was watching cartoons with my favorite human being on the planet, my grandson, Draven. And he wanted to watch Scooby-Doo. And it hit me in the face, right? A Dystopian Dawn Scooby-Doo mystery. Done. And it just flowed. I'm going to share this link with you, and then I'll pop up a picture of the...
Oh, which Scooby-Doo?
Classic.
So classic
Oh,
cartoon
yeah.
series. Okay. I was going to say I would have accepted the live action movies too. I thought those were both good when I
Well,
watched them.
I like that my grandson, he loves the old ones from the 60s and 70s. He's only 5, but he'll just glue in on them. All right, let me see if I can
Yep.
find. I'm going to pull up a cover for
Right.
The Haunting of Crab Cove.
Yep. And CPP asked, "What's the convention you'll be running Dystopian Dawn at?"
Well, I just ran at the Tucson Comic Con last month. My next one is the first weekend of October, and that's going to be RinCon, and that's at the Casino del Sol in Tucson. And then after that, I think it's the first weekend in November. I got to double check the dates. There's a little sci-fi convention called TusCon, and they've been around for like 50 years. It's also in Tucson, so I'll be running there in November. But I also do, my Discord. Every other Saturday, I run online games, and anyone that plays, whether it's in person or on Discord, you get your name in the books. Whatever I'm playtesting, I give credit to my playtesters. Let me find the cover.
Yeah, Spartan's talking about they did the comic book run of Scooby Doo in like a Walking Dead setting, basically, where they were going through a zombie apocalypse. I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
Yes. All right, here I'll share this again. This is the cover.
Right. Right.
And then
It didn't add it. There we go.
And the special guest is Hundi. It's not Scooby. I don't want to get fucking sued. It's Hundi. And I'll show you the characters. So what I did with this one is I actually drew all of the characters. I'll just share this. It'll be easy. Window, go. All right. Can you see this okay?
I'm trying to add it in right now to the scene. Takes a minute. There we go.
So I drew each of these. So these are my version of Dystopian Dawn Scooby-Doo. So, there's Ferdinand, Fred, Hundi, Scooby, Odora, which is a much cooler version of Daphne because she actually kicks ass. Scruffenstein.
Scruffenstein.
And of course, Thelema, not to be confused with, anyone else. And she's the wizard of the group. So I made those, and they're actually playable characters, and I include them in the book. So if you want to grab that, just jump right in, you can. And then,
excuse me.
Then last year I did a Christmas themed one by request, and it went so well I ended up publishing it. It's called A Very Dystopian Dawn Christmas. And Patty and Elvin Maid actually gave me a bunch of the artwork in that book.
Oh, I actually had not had a chance to. Okay, I had never actually looked through this, and I just now noticed the your background paper design that you put in it. Very
that's
fitting.
the original from the Player's Guide background, but I took it in and I gave it the green and red coloring to make it festive. That paper in that book right there, holy shit, was expensive. That was a learning curve for me. That's one of the more expensive books to print. So I think it's on my website for $15, and I think my cost is around 12. So I don't make shit on those, but it's a lot of fun. And me, I'm not all. Don't get me wrong, I like money. One day I hope to make money, but I'm also a gamer, so I try to keep everything as cost effective as possible because I want people to play and have fun. But yeah,
I like
the Christmas book was fun. That's Emmy. Elvin Maid did that.
Yeah, that's a cool design. I'm thinking it's basically a more twisted Jack Frost.
There's those are, I believe, the snow golems.
Yeah, they were the snow golems.
And then Patty did. If you open the front page, the splash there where Santa Claus is hanging upside down, Patty did that one. Patty O'Cakes. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. If I'm gonna be running. I got a different. There's a role playing game called "Twas the Role Playing Game Before Christmas," where you're playing as sentient Christmas toys and you gotta save Santa. And it's a much more simpler system. It's just 2d6, roll under your stat basically. And I'm going to be trying to run it for my family this year. So if I wasn't going to be playing for a bunch of kids, I would probably have taken this instead to see about running for the family. But
Well,
knowing
the fun part with that one is you are rescuing Santa from an extra dimensional evil elf. And if the players do rescue him, because the group that playtested loved it, at the end, they all get presents from Mrs. Claus. And those presents include like stat buttons.
nice. Spartan asked on Rumble, was there an Old Man Jenkins?
There was not. I thought about it, but no. There is, if you in there is definitely, when you find out who the big bad guy is, there is. I even wrote in the entire seed of unmasking him, so that is in the core of the game.
It's like it's not really even unmasking; it's just his flesh just peels off.
Well, it's kind of a Halloween theme because he's
Yeah.
haunting, and you're going to save the coves because there's a group of barbarian fishers, etc., etc. But they're all superstitious. So when you get into it, once you get to the main dude, you actually find out. I'm going to spoil it. Fuck it. He's an engineer, and he's been putting all these rigged traps up to keep everyone away because he found an underground, abandoned, like an ore refinery from the time before. So he's crafting high quality steel. And I actually put in the notes about all that. I actually researched all that. But in order to keep everyone away, he's got like this luminescent old diver suit, like from Scooby-Doo, and he's leaving tracks and whatnot, and people see him glowing at night and all kinds of crazy shit. So when you actually fight him, the battle should only last a couple of rounds before he's like, "Oh shit, stop hitting me," and then you unmask him, and that's all written in there to have fun with it.
Yeah. So it was once again it was another successful little. I want to keep calling it Kickstarter, but it was on Kickstarter. It was on BackerKit. So. Yep, there was your 5 books raised about what was it like total amount at the end?
2,400. It's actually a lot lower than I was anticipating because it's so many books. But I think I actually I was testing a theory, and I think I put too many options in this one, and I think it muddied the waters. So the next ones will be a little more tailored.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I thought it was kind of cool that you're like, I thought it was interesting that like you're just putting it all out there. For the most part, but I mean,
well, what I did, and I guess I didn't make it obvious enough, is I put everything up there with discounts.
Yeah.
So, but I guess it wasn't obvious, and maybe I didn't write it up well enough. But I was, anyone who backed it through that was actually going to get, I think it was ended up being like 10% less than what it is on my website, which is
that's right.
already
You told me about that.
Cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, my hardcover books are only $45. And the soft cover at 35. You can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah, well, because when I bought from you, it was like I got for the steal because it was the 2 books, the GM screen, the player screen. I feel like there was something else that came with it. I don't remember.
Probably the dice set. Probably
dice
a couple
set,
other
yeah.
books.
No, I think it was only just the players guide and the GM at the time. I don't because I think you ended up giving me. Originally, it was just the PDFs for Secrets of Sacred Mountain and Danger Zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently had to raise the prices on the website because my publishing costs went up.
Yeah.
But I raised it to match what the increase was. I didn't go crazy. Because got to keep, like I said, I'm going to pitch it again. $45 for a hardcover book that's 200 plus pages. I'm well under market expectations.
Yeah, and I don't play it too often, but when I do, I always have fun with it. And it's a good system. Definitely a little more crunchier, I think, in comparison, a little bit more in my liking. But I mean, it's not difficult to go through as long as you're like actually following the instructions and realizing what you're doing. I
put a lot of there. If you don't like a rule, get rid of it.
Yeah,
it's when you get into the story.
When you get into the wizard territory, it's when it really gets like, because you got your spell points, you got to figure out like what spells you got to divvy it all up between and all that.
Well, the only math there is, like I said, the magic system is completely customizable by the player. So the only limitation is your imagination and the GM saying, no, the spell points are just, you've got X number of points per day. And however much the spell costs is like your range, your duration, and whether or not you're trying to combine effects. Because that's the beauty of it. Like I like using the example of, say your character knows fire and earth, and you want to combine it and throw a magma ball at someone that sticks to them and burns for X number of turns. All right, it's going to cost X number of magic points to cast. Go.
All right. Sorry, Spartan was asking for a link, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't post anything on Rumble because it's not one to connect to Rumble. So I'm trying to get that
Oh,
link for him real quick.
fracturedbrainstudios.com. Also, I don't know if I can, let me see if I can give you the link. It's not live yet, but I am working a new thing with BackerKit to do a pre-sale. So most of the stuff, not all of it, some of the stuff I've taken off, but most of the stuff that were available in the BackerKit at the lower prices, and I'll drop it in private chat for you if you want to, if you can share that over.
Yeah, I can do that.
The pre-sale should open up, I'm going to guess, in about a week or so. And that way, some of the, like, at least the new books, if you still wanted to order them, you could get them there. Because once they go to my website, they're going to go up by about $5. Because, I've got to pay my Squaresoft fees and I got to pay my website fees and all other happy shit. But right now, so it's your chance to get them at a discount. And of course, anyone that orders through either BackerKit or my website, I sign everything. So, and I personalize it if you want.
Sorry, I'm just about to just sharing the link with Spartan on Rumble really quick, so that way he's
No
got
worries.
it. There we go. And then
Magma, yes. Oh, Creative Play. Hi again and again and again and again. We run into each other all the time. You gonna be at Rincon?
Then Richard White here says, hold on, I can actually pull up comments here. Sounds like one of the strengths of the Dystopian series is its variety. You can pretty much hit any genre that catches your fancy.
And that is my goal. Like I said, the core, when I phase one, as I call it, is introducing fantasy and sci-fi smashed together, right? So it's Mad Max with magic, Conan the Barbarian with machine guns, all of that slammed together. And as I expand each of the new books or each of the new worlds, that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking all the different crazy genres that I love and making it so it's all part of the same world. So you can, maybe you might start a scoundrel from Alamex, a gunslinger. Yes, Rincon and Tuscan. But you end up popping to Monster Island, or you pop over to Europe to Dystopian Mythos, or you end up in Japan with crime fighters and kind of like the original Mystery Men of the 40s. Kind of that vibe is what I'm going to go for with that one. And a few other crazy ideas down the road. So yeah, that is my plan. Is so I'm planting the seeds now in these books for the portals and whatnot, so you could pop around. I'm glad you asked. I actually am a published author. I've been in a slew of different books. I've published a few, but right now I just got a new story, Dystopian Dawn based, that was published in by Edgeweaver. In the book, I'll find it. Helps if I don't close the screen like a putz. My story is called The Tragic Tale of the Last Ranger, and it's spelled tragic, Trajak, which is based on a recurring NPC who was my one and only PC. One guy ran the game for me for a bit, and that was a lot of fun.
It's like you've been a GM so long that you wanted to be a player, and now I've been such a player so long. I'm looking forward to. I'm actually going to start GMing a game here soon. I don't know if you saw when I posted this not too long ago. I'm actually going to be running the 5e Curse of Strahd module for a bunch of friends of a friends.
There we go. I just found it. Okay, it's called Gunsmoke and Hexes: Tales from the Cursed Frontier. I'll drop the link.
Yeah. Spartan, I'm sorry that you're not getting all these links right now. I really don't know why Rumble doesn't want to be connected to the stream chat.
And I think it's available on Apple and a few other places. I know you can get either the Kindle version is $3.99, the paperback is $9.99, and there's about I want to say 8 or 10 different authors, myself included, in the book, and it's by Edgeweaver. Super nice folks. I forget who first turned me on to them and said, "Hey, send them a story." So I took pieces that I was doing in Cowboys and Mutants, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just throw this together and see what happens." And they loved it. So yay.
Yeah. I actually talked to Mr. Klingman, Mr. Big himself, not too long ago, because I just started doing a little solo series using the Syndicate RPG, which is uses the Tiny D10 RPG system, but for Mafia. And I always had this idea ever since I saw the gameplay for Mafia 3 to do like a sequel game to that where it's like the guy who the main character of the game, he takes over the city. A couple years pass, and now you're the players coming up in this new Bordeaux area. That's now been changed. So I did one session of it already, and then I've been trying to. I wrapped up. I kind of wrapped up my Barrows of Borderlands solo game I was doing because everyone died. So I got to finish editing those videos, and I'm going to start doing that. And then I got too many other games I want to do stuff with too. So
Well, back on the book thing, one other thing I'm glad Richard asked. I bounced the idea around a few players and they love it. So I do have, in my copious spare time, wherever the hell that is, I am scribbling other ideas. My intent down the road is to write more short stories, all Dystopian Dawn based. And Tragic is going to be the main character for a long time. He's my man ape who comes from New Rome. Anyway,
he's like the Drist of Dystopian Dawn is what I think of.
Well, fun backstory. He's pretty much like Tarzan.
Mm-hmm.
Only I'm trying to make him speak like Alfie from Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah. By order of the Peaky fucking Blinders.
So the intent is, like I said, is I get these crazy ideas, and some of it comes from playtesting. I actually do plan to do my own anthology. So Dystopian Tales, I don't know what the hell the name's going to be, but that's down the road. And of course, if Edgeweaver has more openings or other folks, I'll send more short stories. As long as people want to read them, I'll keep writing.
Tales from the Dawn would be another kind of cool title too.
Actually, it would be a cool title. I think I might have to steal that.
Go ahead. I seem to be giving out ideas, like as when we were doing because when I was talking to Matthew one time, talking about running a Bronstein style game for his Bears of Borderlands game, but he's like, I don't want to call it Bronstein because I don't want a certain someone to get mad at me. Not going to say his name because I don't have any issue with the dude, but it's like, yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but anyways, beside the point. I came up and said, why don't you just call it a Barrowstein then? And he was like, I'm taking that. And then another thing he's going to do is he wants to do some Bunnies and Burrows, the first edition.
I actually, my wife found that for me a few years ago in mint condition, the first edition print. It was like
and
one of my
I told him it's not Bunnies and Burrows, it'll be Bunnies and Barrows. Since we're going to be, it would basically going to be like maybe like rabbit people, like mutated rabbits in the Bears of Borderlands world is kind of what he's thinking about doing just for fun. Because they play all sorts of different games. And they've even incorporated some. I think he said in a video he's incorporated some board games as well into their campaign as well. So,
well, all of the different games I've played over the last few centuries, I'll make the old joke for you, is what influenced me. Because I told you a long time ago, it was one of my gamers that actually made the crack that why don't you make your own game? Because anytime we try a new game, I was always writing the house rules to make them not suck. And so the gauntlet was thrown, and the first game I wrote I threw in the trash because it was very crunchy and it was just another sword and sorcery. And then I sat back and went, okay, let me do something different because everyone's got a sword and sorcery. Let me take all the crazy shit that I've loved over the years, Thundar the Barbarian, Planet of the Apes, Logan's Run, Mad Max, and smash it all together and see what happens. And that's what Dystopian Dawn is.
And I was actually about to talk about this, but Spartan basically asked the question that will answer for me. How's the dice system work in the game?
D20. Everything is feat-based. So everything has a skill level. So of whether you're swinging a sword or throwing a spell or using psionics, you're rolling a D20 and you're rolling under your skill level. That's it. Yeah. And what I've worked into it, hi, Paladin.
Hey, Paladin.
Is every die roll actually matters. So, like, if you're going to go hit someone and they're going to try to dodge, if they epically fail their dodge, it's not just you hit. Their epic fail adds to your success. So I have what's called the rule of 3. For every factor of 3 you make your die roll by, so like say you needed a skill level of 15 and you rolled a 9. So 15 minus 9, 6. Factor of 3 times 2, right? Simple math, nothing over 10. That would give you a +2 either to damage, or if you're casting a spell, maybe it costs you less points, does extra damage, more range, etc., etc. It's all free flow. But every die roll actually matters. So it's not just I look at a chart or I roll a die, go I either hit or I miss. There's actually factors for everything.
Yeah. And it's not really, it's basically a levelless system because you do gain experience points, but you put those experience points to increasing your stats and your skills.
And it's
instead
all
of just gaining levels.
customization is built in the game because instead of, I'm glad you mentioned XP. Thank you. I did that on purpose because it's one thing. Don't get me wrong. I love old school D&D. I have all my first edition books, AD&D, still in my other room. This is my man-child cave, not my gaming room, by the way.
His game room is actually pretty cool. I've seen it on video. So
what? Shit. What was I saying? Fucking senility.
talking about experience points.
Oh, XP, right? Thank you. So instead of like, hey, I got 250,000 XP, yeah, I went up one level, I get 1d4 hit points and +1 to a skill. I always felt that was a cheat. It just felt, wow, I spent months doing this and that's all I get. So what I do instead is you earn XP by role playing. The better you think things through, sure, don't get me wrong, murder hobos still get XP, but you get more XP if you save the town or completely destroy the town in an ingenious way. Doesn't matter. You then spend that XP, whether it's you want to increase a skill, learn a new skill, increase magic, increase your psionics, increase your stats. You completely customize your character from start to finish. Another thing I did was there's no such thing as multi-classing because that's a pain in the ass. If you start off, say, as a scoundrel, which is a thief or treasure hunter, et cetera, type, and later on you've raised your intellect and your tech high enough and you find a magic grimoire, whatever role-playing thing is, if your stats are high enough, you can learn magic. There's nothing stopping you. The GM can let you do it. You're still a scoundrel by your character type, but now you're a scoundrel who throws fire at people. So instead of having extra crazy rules and extra split your XP 3 ways, and if it's the second Tuesday of the third moon and blah, 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 you just do it. You just customize. As long as the GM says they're cool with it, you're cool with it. It's that simple.
All right. And so Spartan was saying he called it Savage Worlds feats with D20 system. I would not say this is anything like Savage Worlds. I don't know if you're familiar with that system at all.
I am.
Okay, so I recently got it on because they're doing like a Savage September sale on Drive RPG. So I got the rules book for cheap because I hear it, so everyone talks about it, and it's supposed to be a really good game. So I got it for like $6. I read through it. It's actually pretty good. Character creation also a little bit iffy to try to work through with it, but I got it. And it's not the character creation in Dystopian Dawn is nowhere close to how Savage World is. It's two completely different things entirely. Because one thing
World, in my opinion, is a little more crunchy. It's a good system, but it's a little more crunchy in my opinion.
The one thing that I liked about Dystopian Dawn that does differently from a lot of games, and I think this is kind of I'm going to say that I feel like this was why am I losing my words here? This was the inspiration taken from Traveler because you have the life path thing as well. Yeah,
absolutely. So thank you for mentioning that. So during character creation, first step is you pick where are you from, which of the 6 territories you're from, and that gives you a boost to your stats. That's really all that is. Then you roll on the evolution tables. You have birth, childhood, and pre-adolescence. And these might boost your stats. They might give you extra skill points to spend during character creation. You might get a mutation. Who knows? But those all tie into your actual character evolution. So that way, once your character is now 18 years old, go adventure, you've done your stuff. But in the evolution tables, I also include something unique. Each role has a partial sentence, like found in a basket drifting down a river, fell into a vat of chemicals, et cetera, et cetera. Each of those 3 things, when combined at the end, form the basis, the start point for your backstory. So if you like to write backstories, like me and some people, there's your start point. There's your ideas. If you hate writing backstories, those 3 sentences, there's your backstory. You're done. And that's something I thought it was kind of a fun thing. But as I've been playing at conventions and online, everything over the last 3 years, that's been one of the biggest things people have commented on that they really love. And yes, it was initially influenced by Traveler, but you don't have the chance to die during my evolution tables. And Emmy, Elvin Maid, actually wrote an entire article in her first magazine.
I remember.
From the
Tales from the Tavern.
Elvin Maid or Tales from
Tales from the Tavern or something like that. I don't remember.
But she actually wrote an article on it because her group had so much fun creating characters with that evolution. She was bouncing ideas off me, and we actually did an interview about it. And she just said they really loved it. So I'm actually glad that came in. into play that people really dig it. But yeah, the origins were, I wanted something different, something that adds something. And I was like, shit, I remember that system from Traveler, though I did have a character who died during basic training, and that kind of pissed me off. But so I took that part out, and I was like, how can I make this fun? And that's where I added the story element too. So it's not just here's some extra stats and points for character creation. Here's a story element to add to it. So I had fun with that.
Yeah, I kind of like how, because I think there may be like a year plus between the first time I talked to you about Dystopian Dawn versus to where we are now talking today. Because I feel like talking about back then,
Way back when.
I was yeah, back in my day. I mean, I'm only 32 and I feel like it half the time these days, even though I shouldn't, but I do. But because it's like I was like still like freshly new to like a lot of these newer games, and so I was looking like, oh, this looks fun. And then there was that little tiff we had for a short moment because I got completely autistic about how some of the stuff was worded at that one time. But it's like we got past that because I just realized I ended up by calling Matthew how he call his how he words things high tapian, because it's like if I get too autistic about it, like, oh, I fell for your high tapian. And so this is the joke that I call
Well,
it.
yeah,
So
once you and I got on the phone, we started chatting because I didn't
yeah,
understand what you were asking, and I'm like, where the fuck are you going? And once we started to chat, I was like, oh
yeah,
no, here, yeah, everything was cool. But initially, I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck is he at?
yeah,
I
because
think
it's
we
like,
dropped about 42 f bombs in this section.
no, you're fine. I don't mind cursing and all that stuff. It's like YouTube can suck a dick anyways most of the time. So with all the
Well, I'm
rules, but
retired Army, so it's part of my vernacular. If
yeah,
I'm not
but
cussing, I'm not breathing.
yeah, and I think also because like I'm so used to one thing I've had to learn personally myself is I can't just take everything in a book at face value
Yeah.
just because it's worded that way and I like it like okay it's worded that way that means that's not necessarily like how you mean it or like how someone else may mean it. So I've gone to like freaking I might have posted about this, you may not have seen it, but I got into this conversation about I got my character during some downtime in the Bears Borderlands game. I created this fourth level fighting man green skill character. So think of like those big old mutant guys from Fallout, but basically they're more like radioactive and you can see their bones. It's kind of like I think Blight from Batman Beyond, that glowing radioactive skull guy. Think that, but more of a beefcake. That's Gong for you.
A
And
great, a great cartoon. Anyway,
Gong 3d6 down the line has a 4 intelligence. And the reason he's called Gong because it has a you roll for like your kind of like social skill stuff, and he only has one of his skills is he was a Gong farmer, and the joke is he doesn't know shit but shit basically, and that's why he's called Gong.
a
But
gong farmer.
yeah, it's literally like a Gong farmer. It's a shit farmer basically.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
old
that
school
like
thing.
the
I
Korean
guess
term gong?
I have no idea. I just apparently it's just it's an old medieval like actual job that people had at one point
Oh,
was they were
cool.
in
I didn't
charge
know
of
that.
like shoveling up the feces and all that. So Gong was in charge of one that, and he's like, I'm gonna, and then he got hold his hands on the battle axe one day, like I'm gonna go fight some creatures, and then he's just kind of going all over the Borderlands, and he always talks to the third person. He's always asking questions because with the 4 intelligence, of course, he's gonna always ask questions so he can try to understand stuff, like a misunderstanding between this cult was trying to like work on this robotic woman, and Gong had this little heart that he found that he was just protecting. And Gong was like, "Oh, you cultist, put hearts back in woman." Well, that activated the woman's self-destruct sequence. And then
Interesting.
I think I also rolled like I forgot what his strength was. I think it was like a 14 or a 15. Someone tried to grapple me to stop it, and Gong just went, "Nope." Speaking of the grapple, Spartan. So the hardest part in every rulebook: how do you grapple someone?
Strength check. There's actually you can do it from. One thing I do with all my skills is I give a very broad title, like fighting street.
Yeah.
And what you do is that gives you your mechanics. And this is instead of putting 300 of the same damn skills in one book, underneath it I have style suggestions like boxing, blah, 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 blah. So you can customize and say, okay, my guy knows the Scottish art of fakir, which is a whole lot of kicking and headbutting. Anyway, so all you'd have to do is just get a hold of them, and then it's a strength contest to see if they break free.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
And I got so distracted I forgot what I was going to mention originally. But no, so Gong goes out during some downtime, travels to several hexes across the map, goes to visit some sages because he found this gem that was broken and he wanted to get fixed originally. And the characters I had to interact with for that were like, well, this won't really serve you, but hey, we'll give you some stuff in return. Where you can take like we'll say you get like a weapon of your choosing. So I had a choice between like a spear and a shield, and then this character will also be my character a favor. And of course, Gong was just like, okay, and he takes his spear. And I think they called it a backbiter. I think the character named it. So he has the spear called backbiter.
That's an
And
old
we,
D&D weapon. The cursed backbiter is an old
yeah,
spear, I
it
think.
was it was a +1 great spear. But the thing we started arguing about, and I couldn't figure out if they were joking or not, which was part of the problem, was, oh, you also lose 5 HP every time you use it, as well. So it's like it was apparently a cursed great spear, and
Yeah,
technically,
that's straight out of the DM's guide from old school
yeah,
AD&D. The
yeah.
cursed backbiter. It was a spear that every
So
time you used it, you took damage.
well, here's the thing. It really wasn't. They were just messing with me. But Matthew
Oh,
liked that. Matthew got such a laugh out of the conversation. He actually made it an item in the book, in the newest printing that he just made of it, and actually mentioned my character in it.
nice,
Like the Ultra Spear, he called it.
nice.
Yeah, and I'm just laughing like it's like even though it was like you came from a joke, I'm like, okay, that's still kind of cool. And now that it's actually official in the book, I'm like, well, now I have to run it by how the rules is written for that. So it's like every Gong's gonna pull the spear, and it's like, ow, it bit me.
Sorry, my phone just went off and it was in the other room. No call back. So my ringtone is the theme song from Batman the Animated Series. So I don't know if you can hear that or not.
I can hear it. I haven't seen that in such a long time.
One of the greatest cartoons ever made.
I caught a glimpse of one TV. I just happened to see somewhere randomly they were playing the old Superman the Animated Series cartoons.
It's actually pretty good. It's underrated. It was actually a decent cartoon. Or
I
are you
loved,
talking about the Fleischer era, like from the 40s and 50s?
No, no, I'm talking. No, I have seen that old one because it was on YouTube one time. I remember watching that, but no, I'm talking about like the kids WB '90s going to
Gotcha.
2000 Superman animated cartoon. For me, it was just the original Justice League cartoon. For me, was what got me into like DC and all that. But
Justice League Unlimited was a great cartoon that was canceled way too early.
yeah, that was good when you get to introduce all the other heroes in the universe and all that.
So you see my shelf back there. Dr. Fate is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
If I can pan it, maybe you can see my helmets. They're behind it. Never mind. I have a few toys.
A few, yeah. Well, no, I remember what I was going to think about because we were talking about like your inspiration for some of your stuff in the game from other games, and I know you've mentioned before and on several times that GURPS was like one of your biggest games you played a lot as well.
So the funny part is, way back when, I used to collect different systems because in the 80s and 90s, every system that came out was unique to a setting. You had gangsters, you had vampire, you had werewolf, you had Call of Cthulhu, et cetera, plus like 16 different superhero games. But they were all unique. They didn't really transfer over to anything else. So if you wanted to do a different genre, you had to learn a different system, which was it was fun, but also kind of annoying because sometimes the systems, while they might, like, I'll use Shadowrun, for example. Amazing backstory, great world setting, one of the shittiest mechanics ever created. And I will die on that sword. It was a horrible mechanic. Anywho, so a buddy of mine who actually was one of the play testers for GURPS 3rd edition, his name's in the book, and we were in the army. This is Germany in the 90s. And him and another friend of mine, Steph, were like, hey, you need to check out GURPS. And I'm like, Gesundheit, what the hell is that? Generic universal role-playing system. Okay, that's why they call it GURPS. That's a mouthful. All right. So I played it, and it was very crunchy initially. I'm like, okay, there's a lot to this. But then I was like, all right, let me just sit down. Let me read it and run it so I can get a better perspective as a GM. And I realized the flexibility. I mean, don't get me wrong. GURPS is not a perfect system, but it's a damn good system. I'm not a fan of 4th edition. They made weird changes that I didn't think need to be. Anyway,
a lot of people say 3rd edition is the best one. Yeah, I was about to say.
Because 3rd edition was smart. They took what they learned from 1st and 2nd and all of the different, because the library is huge. If in my other room, you can see my giant library, is huge. And they said, okay, everything that worked, we're now making 3rd edition. And it was smart. 4th edition, they like renamed a bunch of shit for no reason. That's another tangent for another time. Anyway, so once running it, I realized, hell, I can run vampire, I can run supers, I can run zombies, I can run fantasy, and I can do them all actually at the same damn thing. IOU, Illuminati Online, or Illuminati. Sorry. There's a running joke on Illuminati. I'll come back to that. I saw Richard's post, made me laugh.
Yeah, it's like,
and they did Cyberpunk and Cthulhu and everything. And the beauty of GURPS is you can mix and match. So if you wanted to make a superhero zombie swashbuckling space game, you could. The mechanics never changed. All that changed was what pieces you wanted to put in there, what mechanics are, what gear, et cetera, et cetera. And I liked that concept. Well, with Dystopian Dawn, I wanted to make it smoother because there are still some hiccups in GURPS when you transfer certain genres, don't really work that well together. So I wanted to smooth it all out, which is one of the reasons I spent over a year and a half playtesting the core system, mostly with people I didn't know, to beat the living shit out of it before I published the first book. But yeah, GURPS was one of the ones that really changed my mind on a lot of games. Because hell, I used to have 6 or 7 different superhero games between DC, Marvel, all 3 versions, Mutants and Masterminds, Champions, Villains and Vigilantes, on and on and on. And I had this ginormous, collection of RPGs where it's like whenever I got a new group, hey, I want to do a genre, shit, I have to teach you all the mechanics. As opposed to the group that knew how to play GURPS, hey, we're doing GURPS supers. Done. And I liked that idea. I liked the all-in-one. So yeah, I did kind of channel some of that. Like I said, when asked about what influenced me, my simple answer is everything. So I took stuff that I like, ideas, massaged it into what I feel is a smoother mechanic, and all the crap that I didn't like in other games, I made sure they don't poke their ugly nose in my system. So I try to, if you read through the books, I do include crunchy rules for those who like it, but I've also got lots and lots of examples of, hey, if you don't like this, don't use it. Here's an example. I'm all about the story. That's the kind of GM I am. I'm story flow. If everyone's having a good time and a mechanic might break that good time, I ignore the shit out of that mechanic because I want the group to have fun.
Yep, Rule 0 is always one of the best rules in the hobby. I keep saying so. Another thing I want to bring up because we're talking going back to kind of the.
Oh, wait, hold on. I got to go back to Richard.
Oh, okay.
I was about to make that comment. So Illuminati University, on the cover it says IOU. And the running joke, Richard knows it, the running joke is the O doesn't stand for anything because you're not cleared for that. And there's also a joke in the core book. There's a skill called FNORD, FNORD, which is a running gag through GURPS. Whenever something's just, you can't explain it, it's completely foobar, FNORD. So they list it as a skill with a page number. The page does not exist in the book.
Wait, we're talking about for GURPS or for
GURPS? For GURPS.
Okay.
So the word FNORD, and it's a running gag that Steve Jackson had forever about, and I think it started with Illuminati, with something that was just so wackadoo. You just say FNORD, and then
was
you're not
that
cleared
the
for that.
one that the FBI raided his house over? Or
that was actually Black Ops. One of the GURPS books they did was Black Ops, and yeah, they got raided. I really wish they didn't make them anymore. I'd love to have one, but for the longest time they had T-shirts, but I was overseas, so I didn't find out about it until years later. That was Steve Jackson Games 1, Secret Service 0.
Nice.
Or FBI 0. Yeah, they took all their computers, all their work on a complete, because they had it was Black Ops, and I think they were working on Conspiracy Theory X was the other book. And Steve Jackson and crew and the other writers, I forget who else worked on it, they came back and they actually thanked the Federal Service. They're like, hey, we thought we were just making shit up. Thanks for solidifying some of our activities.
Yeah, because I think when TSR was making Top Secret, their spy game, yeah, they had I think they got rated at one point for that too.
I think they got questioned. They didn't get the full blown raid like Steve Jackson did, because Top Secret was more. It's a fun game and it's cheesier. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, the best spy game ever made was James Bond 007. I can't remember. I just lost the name of the company. their modules they put together are the best I've ever seen. So each of the books, like say Diamonds Are Forever, based on
Mhm.
one of Ian Fleming's books, one of the movies, everything in there, it's a box set. You've got full color maps. You have a dossier this is for eyes only that you hand out to the players. It's everything you would need as a GM for visuals, player aids, etc., all in one box. They were phenomenal, and I've never seen anyone else do anything to that level. Probably because it was too damn expensive, but they were amazing.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that there was like I don't know if it's like based off like the original one, but I saw there was like a top secret second edition that someone else had made and put out on Director RPG, and
That's
a lot
probably
they
a fan base thing. Probably. I mean,
more than
Top Secret
likely.
was a fun game, but it was. I mean, it was it was the '80s. A lot of the rules were either what or almost non-existent. I mean,
Yeah.
case in point about the '80s, I've been rereading, um, and this hurts me to actually admit this. I've been rereading the Player's Guide from AD&D First Edition. So when it was just
Yeah.
AD&D, no additions. Man, some of that shit is really crunchy. Victory Games, thank you. Avalon Hill, thank you. Sorry, Richard. Richard Googled it or something. Yay. Um, yeah, Avalon Hill did a lot of great shit. Anyway, I was reading through it and I'm looking over all the racial limitations, the class limitations, the stat limits. I'm like, why? Why the hell did you do this? And I don't get me wrong. I love old school D&D. I always will.
Hmm.
But as I look at it now, as I've matured as a gamer, I look at it and go, "What the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah.
Why is this so complicated?" Anyway,
Like I remember because there's a creator out there right now. He's made his own retro clone of the white box system, and it got. And I don't mind saying the same. I don't have a. I am sorry. I'm losing my words right now for some reason. It's been a
you're
long week and a long day for me.
getting your merds wixed.
Yes. Stop that. You're not helping. uh, like it's like Rob Coots. I have respect for the man because he's one of the original creators that's still
Yes.
around. But when he saw that someone was doing this, like he kind of got in a little tizzy about that whole thing. But he's like, it was a perfect game. It was perfectly playable, and a lot of us were like, not with the current wording sometimes.
Yeah, so some of the verbiage back then, because I actually the first game book I ever bought was actually Chainmail, which is the
Oh,
rules for
actually,
miniatures. Um, and then the box set I played that, and then I think it was right about the time when I got into it, 1980. Yep, Chainmail, Men in Magic,
yeah. Now,
Eldritch Boudoir.
now these
Um,
are basically they're a
those
couple I'm friends with did them.
are those
They made these for like
reprints?
no that. Well, I guess kind of. It's a couple I know. They made a bunch of these for an arts and crafts project. So
Okay,
me and a bunch of other people that were friends with them, we all got copies. So it's the first 4 books and then a third edition
Chainmail.
chainmail.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was the first book I ever owned. I think I was 12 years old. First gaming book I ever owned.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
for me, like AD&D took everything that was in the basic and the concepts and whatnot and solidified it. And I'll still say the GM's Guide is one of the best books, most comprehensive. I wouldn't say best, most comprehensive books ever written. Hats off to Gary Gygax. The GM's Guide is amazing. It's got everything you ever need to run a system. It's anyway. But I honestly think that second edition, the changes they made to it, which when we played it, we just took stuff from second edition and saw it as more of an expansion for first edition because it was still it was compatible.
mhm.
And for me, that was peak D&D. After that, not so much in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Dungeon Delver will live and die by first edition AD&D being the best game around. Which that's his right. It's everyone he's allowed to have that opinion. It's like I mean, I think I would agree second edition would be better in comparison to it, but I mean, it's what he grew, it's
Well,
what he
like I said, that's
loves.
what my
So
group did. Is we still played. It was called AD&D, but
yeah,
elements of second edition, like the kits and some of the other expansions and whatnot, we just incorporated that into first edition because all the rules didn't change. A few things got
yeah,
softened,
yeah,
but for the most part, it was like a rewarding of certain areas,
yeah.
and it was good. Third edition for me is where it started to slip away from D&D, in my opinion. It
Yeah.
got a little. They took a little too much from the not Planescape.
So
Shit.
you didn't have an issue with all the splat books they released for second edition then, like many other people have said they had with the issue with.
They went a little crazy, but a lot of them were actually pretty good. I mean, they went nuts with, merchandising. Here's a book every fucking month. That did get annoying as a collector, but some of them were pretty good. Like the complete book on fighters was actually a pretty damn good book. The complete book on, like, I think they did elves and all the others. A lot of those were good. I won't say all. Some of them were, you could tell it was a cash grab for some of those books. But
Yeah.
like I'd say probably like the first 10 or 12 they did in the beginning were pretty solid.
So I don't know if you ever saw this too, but did you see about WotC releasing a crochet kit that's Dungeons and Dragons themed? Did you ever see that at all?
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, I mean, it's not my
No.
thing.
I just
It's
thought it was funny because I was listening. There's a podcast out there. It's called When We Were Wizards, and it's a 14 episode podcast. It talks about the rise and the fall of Gary Gygax and TSR, and it mentions about the sewing company that they tried to start up
yeah,
at one
they
point.
they were selling what do you call it, like the design for when you're sewing an outfit. It was like
I
paper.
don't know what they're called either. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I know what
they
you're talking
were
about. I
selling
just don't know
those.
what they're called. Yeah, so I just thought it was kind of funny, and I also thought, like, well, if they had released this back when I was in high school, all the girls for some reason were crocheting like crazy during the high school downtime. Like, I'm sitting like choir, like I think I had choir class, then we had the break time, and I see like 5 girls in my choir class all just, and I'm like, what started this at the time?
I got to grab something. Give me 1 second. I'm really sorry. I'll be right back.
No, you're
Sorry.
fine. Go ahead.
Ugh.
Hope to the 4 that are still remaining with us in chat, I hope you all are having a good time, and I hope this I've seen this video makes you want to get Dystopian Dawn. It's a great game. It's a decent system. I love it when I get to play it. I don't play it too often, just because I have all these other games I also play on top of everything else. But when I do get to play, mostly I'm helping playtest a lot of Tony's stuff. But I always enjoy it every time. From being my Zach Brannigan looking kind of character in Time Warp to the being Gorm in the Robots and Vikings game that's going to be coming out here soon. So all right. So for those that are still listening and following, just let me know something. Did y'all do any gaming this week? And if you did, what game did you play? Let us know. Just kind of chilling out right now until Tony gets back.
Sorry about that. Other phone went
perfectly
off,
fine.
so wasn't sure if there was an issue with the grandbaby or not. Okay. Because
Okay.
my grandson had like a really bad allergic reaction this week. His eyes all swelled up. So, all right, it's fine.
That's never fun.
Here,
right,
you know what? Since we're at it, I will share a picture of my favorite human being on the planet. Let's see. There, this is my little buddy.
All right, just gotta at the scene. Oh, how old is he?
He just turned. Well, he's 5 now.
5. Oh, so he's only a year younger than my own kiddo that I got. So
that's his little safari outfit. We'd go in the backyard and he, with his binoculars, and he'd hunt dinosaurs. And I think the last time he was hunting Godzilla. So we had a good time. So anyway, he's my everything.
Yeah, sorry to hear about your gaming group rage you bring up during COVID. I started basically online like right when the pandemic started up. So that's why I've got mine, because I didn't start playing until 2019. And then I just kind of speedballed from there, basically. And because I think actually the Dystopian Dawn was one of the few, like, my first games I started collecting when I started to kind of expand my horizons a little bit on the games, because I was City of Mist was my go-to for the longest time. And then I got my hands on a few others, and then I heard about Dystopian Dawn, and I'm like, okay, I hadn't done anything with the post-apocalyptic like setting yet. Let me get his books and let me check it out. And I did, and here we are, and we're still good friends to this day.
Speaking of books, would you like to see The Method to the Madness?
What is this a book title, or are you going to share me like something or about a method to your madness?
This is just
Let's
my
see.
books folder. So this is everything that's in my queue.
Oh, jeez.
So everything from number 7, let's see, 7, 8, C1, C2, C3, M1, M2, M3, M4. All of these are ones that are in various stages of work right now.
Yeah. And I understand the Richard White. Yeah, I understand. Trevor. Like when I like the Crystal Straw game about to start running, I tried to convince the guy who put it all together. Is there any chance I could convince you all to do a different system besides 5e? Because I had avoided 5e like the plague. I'd only ever been in like one campaign that used 5e, and that was only because a buddy of mine I was running and he needed players. And I'm like, well, I never played, and you need players,
Straw
so okay.
really needs to be ran in nothing beyond second edition because
Well,
you lose the, I don't know, my opinion, fifth edition is nerfed. And in second edition, you still had the holy shit, I'm dead. We've only been gaming 30 minutes.
well, no,
Straw is a
I
king
told
for that.
when I had the session deal with all the players, including the guy who put it all together, because because I'm doing it for someone else's stream. I'm just running it because I have been dying to run games. I have been stuck in the player position for like a good year and a half now, and I have tried to get a game going, or at least try to get an in-person game going, and I can't get enough people. Or I think the last time I tried to do Shadowrun for a couple guys. I had a full party, and then 2 of them left after 3 sessions, and we never picked it back up after that.
Well, just
So
throwing it out there, if you ever want to jump in the arena, you can jump
yeah,
on my Discord and I will happily, give up the GM seat for a bit.
yeah,
I love the game one.
I need to actually crack open the Game Master's Guide and look through it a little bit, so that way I'm not just going completely blind into everything. So, but
I'm just saying the offer's there, man. And I do have, you've seen my groups on Discord. I have anywhere from, depending on who's available, I think the smallest group I've had is 6, but I had like 15 or 18 one time. So I don't mind. The more the merrier, in my opinion.
yeah, and because I bought the physical book because like you can buy most of these cheap off Walmart, and this is actually the first printing of the module, and they said, "Oh yes, that's good," because apparently the reprintings were really more nerfed. And I told the players when I did Session Zero, we're like, I'm not going to hold back. This is going to be deadly for your characters because I told them I'm introducing the sanity attribute to it, so they all have sanity checks they'll have to make from time to time. And then
I played the original Ravenloft. So my old D&D group, this was in the 90s, pre-GURPS. We were all in the Army, and a buddy of mine, we'd all rotate the DM seats, whatever system we're doing. But if we were playing D&D, we would just take different areas and we'd switch, like, okay, now I'm playing my character type thing. So my buddy Eric was the Ravenloft guy. And we all made a point, none of us would read Ravenloft because he was running it and he ran such an amazing game. I mean, he did very creepy sessions. So I was playing a halfling bounty hunter.
Oh, cool.
Indiana Gnome. Anyway. And he used like throwing knives and a whip. So in combat, I think my highest damage was like 4 points. It was a lot of fun. But by the time we left Ravenloft, Indiana Gnome was the only one to survive. The whole party was dead. And I'm leaving the mists. And as I leave the mist, I realize I'm covered in like snake scales. I've got red eyes. I have one horn. I'm like, what the fuck, Eric? He's like, welcome to Strahd, you son of a bitch. I'm like, well, you know what? My character turns back around. There's no way I can live in the normal fantasy world looking like this. I'll be killed for a demon. So I ended up retiring Indiana Gnome as a bounty hunter roaming the realm of Ravenloft. And I gave it over to my buddy Eric as an NPC. So who knows? Cool. Indiana Gnome might return someday in someone's game.
So one of the because he run the guy because we have a Discord server for Bears of Borderlands, and one of the times I had played in one of the online games, and this so even though everyone in there is all from different backgrounds and beliefs and all that, but no matter who you are, we all love quoting Alex Jones for laughs. So like every now and then, just a couple of us will be those. We'll be waiting. It's like they're trying to friggin' frogs gay, and we're just constantly just riffing off Alex Jones. And well, in a supplement book that Matthew had made, just to like, okay, I hear some races and classes I want to play test. I'll put them in this document. Y'all can download it, try them out. And he made a Chronomancer class, which is like this like a time wizard, comes back, and he went too far back, and now he's stuck in the Barrows of Borderlands timeline. And so I was just like,
So what you're saying is he had to get back in time?
I get it. But anyways,
Back to the Future. Anyway.
yeah, I got it. Yeah, but I lost my train.
Sorry, I was going with the Huey Lewis Back to the Future.
It's like my brain shut off after that joke, but I gotcha.
That joke was so bad I can't fucking think. Thanks.
I wouldn't say that, but but no, I bounced off the idea because I wanted to ask him first because I didn't want to just make this character. I'm like, it's like, so this is a Chronomancer comes back in time, right? So Alex Jones Chronomancer, and he's like, fine, you can make an Alex Jones Chronomancer. So when we started the session, the two other characters I was playing with, they see as this there's stack of electricity in the air, this ball of light forms, and then kind of like Terminator, there's now this human, there's this human man standing before them in like robes with runes on them. And he's holding like this like weird like steampunkish pocket watch, and the guy introduces himself as Axel Johns. And the first thing he does is he walks up to him, gets in their face, is like, "Are you both working for the shadow government?"
Nice. Funny, one thing I wanted to throw in there since we were talking about Ravenloft and whatnot, in my dystopian mythos in the Europe area, what I haven't blown up, I am going to have an area called Darkvale, which is actually ruled by a vampire and a lich queen. And the area is going to have a magical mutating mist over it. So I'm going to have lots of crazy elements. And you were talking about elves earlier. My elves are kind of a mix between Poison Elves and Michael Moorcock's Mel de Monet. So my elves are cruel.
I don't get that last part that you mentioned.
The Elric
Mel
de Monet. You ever heard of Elric?
I've heard of Elric, but I don't know anything about it.
Not the anime. The Michael Moorcock series, The Eternal Champion. Elric was the original albino spell-throwing sword slinger long before The Witcher ripped him off.
I was thinking about the. I'm thinking playing Skyrim. Those I forget what those weird cave looking like ghoulish elf creatures are called in the game, but they used to be snow elves at one point, and then they were just succumbed to like the darkness so long that they became like ghoulish, like and mutated. And that was what I was thinking about for like a split second. I forgot what they're called.
Well, this is, let me see if I can pull up an image from Stormbringer. Stormbringer was actually a great role-playing game.
Yeah, I know, because you were trying to get me to introduce it, and I was just like, timing though, depending on, because I have a Saturday Sunday game I usually play in too. So
I'm trying to find a picture of Elric. That's a good one.
The Falmer, that's what they're called in Skyrim. But they were snow elves, and they were so corrupted by darkness, they became like all ghoulish like and stuff.
So this is a more recent comic version.
Oh.
I just shared the screen with you.
Yep.
That's Elric.
Yeah.
And the Elric saga was actually created back in the 60s by Michael Moorcock as short stories. And then they ended up getting such a fan base, he wrote several books. And he's actually the grandfather, as far as fantasy books go, of the creator of the multiverse. Now, some people argue that someone invented the term, blah, blah. No, Michael Moorcock is the first one to actually use it as a fantasy trope, as the multiverse. And his whole thing is the Eternal Champion is incarnations of what a world needs. So kind of like the Batman thing. He's not the hero. He's not the hero you want. He's the hero you deserve. And so anyway, Michael Moorcock, the Melanomanans are an ancient race, kind of elf-like, that have been, they ruled over the humans for centuries, but they've been distant and they're more into themselves. And that's pretty much what my elves are going to be like in Mythos, because Great Britain is going to be their home. And it's the elf king who rules over all of Fae. But as long as they keep sending tithes and whatnot, he really doesn't care. And the elves, once you get into Great Britain, you realize they're more into, well, weird, darker magics. No technomancy, but darker, odd stuff and hallucinogens and being sadists, and definitely not Tolkien's elves. So when you run into elves in my world, you're like, oh shit, we should run away.
Run away! Yep. Well, I think we're about approaching the time because we usually go about maybe hour and a half. So, is there anything
Sounds
else you
good.
want to mention before we close for the night?
Other than like I said, pimping out the website and pimping out if you want to keep an eye on the backer kit because the pre-sale site should open up soon, and the new books will be on there, and they'll be at it. You'll still get them at the discount price that's on the backer kit, which I think it's $20 to $25. When they go onto the website, they're going to go up by about $5. Um, anyway, there's still plenty of stuff there. So yeah, pimp out the links. Thank you, and my fourth wall. Thank you.
Yep.
So, and if you order books through either my website or through the backer kit, any book that comes to me, I'll sign it to you and all that fun stuff. If you order the stuff through Fourth Wall, there's T-shirts, there's coffee mugs, koozies. Ooh.
Well, I wasn't drinking coffee, so I will grab my coffee mug for my merch that I've been selling, which I didn't put the shirt because I already had this one up. My tabletop frontline shirt that has artwork done by Patty on it, which is it's very symbolic. It's a sword going through a dragon, a decapitated dragon wearing a wizard hat. So make of that what you will. So,
but yeah, again, I can't stress the backer kit enough. It's still taking orders because I plan to ship the books in December. So my goal is to get them out before Christmas. And that's 5 new books.
Yep.
5.
Yep. Let me just remind everyone, this is just what's already available that I have. Think of how much bigger it's probably going to look by the time he's done with like phase 2.
How about I share a screen that shows them?
Okay.
Holy shit.
Yep.
So my goal is by the end of this year, I will have 13 books in my library. And my goal for next year is to add probably 5 or 6 more.
We're going to have to call you Tony Gygax at this point.
I've actually written more books in my first 3 years than TSR did in their first 6.
Ooh.
And I'm a one-man show. Just saying.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of the way to go, though, these days. I mean, it's just you. You're able to make what you want, play test it how you want with people you trust or your friends, and then you release it. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, you try again with something else, maybe. Who knows? I'm thinking about...
The other pimp out is, again, reminding folks I will be at RenCon and TUSCon in October and November.
Yeah, and I don't have all the links available in the description right now, but once this is all out, I got to go back to some of my older videos too and put some new links in there as well. So I'll make sure a lot of these links will be in the video. And are you okay if I put...
You got the shared link for my Discord, right?
I was about to ask you, is it okay if I've shared the Discord link as well in the description? Yeah, because
everyone is welcome.
That's what
I'm actually running. Tomorrow I'm running another. I'm continuing playtesting for Death Race Coast to Coast. I do a tomorrow at noon Arizona time because we don't change our clocks, people.
Because Arizona's
at
weird.
noon, I'm doing a character creation session, and then at 2:00 the game commences with the rest of the group. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the players of Curse of Strahd lives in Arizona, and then another one lives in Australia. So that's a whole kerfuffle with the time difference there,
That's brutal.
Especially when the first time I was playing with you all with the Arizona time, because it was only like 9 for you, or it may have been like 9 or 10 for you, but it was almost midnight for me. By the time I was like, okay, I'm falling asleep here in my chair, I gotta call it a night.
I started calling the games now. I don't think we go past 7 or 8 because I realized it was wearing me the hell out going from noon until whenever. So I try to pull the plug around 7 now. I'm like, okay, which actually made me feel good. The session before last, I think we had just wrapped up. We had either just started Death Race or we just wrapped up Vikings. And I was like, all right, this is a good place to stop. And it was a collective, from everyone online. I went, okay, that's a really good sign, but I'm still going to leave you on a cliffhanger. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. Because usually my thing is if I'm running like a campaign, usually between 2 to 4 hours, depending on what's going on for sessions. If it's a one shot, at least 4 to 6 hours for like a whole one shot. Because this was supposed to be your one shot.
Well, it was one scenario out of the only one
Yeah,
scenario was going to be run when we
because I
played.
think it ended with I don't know if it was my character or someone else's character. They had a gun. They shot the camera at a cave of rebels, and they knocked us out and captured us. And that's how you ended that scenario. It's like I still will never forget the surf lemurs. That's always going to stick with me for some reason. I don't know why it's so memorable, but it's
It
always
was fun. It was
because like
crazy
I was the
weird.
only one down there. The other guy left and went up to the others, and they're just sitting there, just twiddling their thumbs, waiting for me. Well,
Yeah,
I'm playing,
your security guy ditched you.
and it's like I wasn't like doing. It's like my character wasn't doing anything. It was like, oh, hello there. It was like, it's like I have no idea what you're saying, but nice to meet you too.
Well, and the funny part was the interactions you did with them is what actually influenced the start of the rest of the group's activities, because it could have turned very quickly with the Surf Lemur King having them attack you, but instead they gave you stuff that like fish that nobody wanted to eat, etc., etc. But they also gave you, pantomime some information for you and started you guys off on the right foot, as opposed to in a village of 40 surf lemurs attacking you with pitchforks.
Yeah, and I think because as we were traveling, I think we got caught in. I can't remember. I think we got caught in like some radiated rain or something, and I think, or we were just too exposed to the radiation. My character ended up, I think, growing cheetah fur and getting a third eye.
Well, what
I
I
think,
did with that, with your group, you guys were testing the astronauts. And the fun
yeah,
part was no one actually realized you thought you were on the other planet. It wasn't until someone went, holy shit, we're in Georgia. And I died laughing. I was like, yes, okay, excellent. But I actually wrote that into Time Warp. So if you're starting off as one of the astronauts, as you progress through areas, you're collecting rads. And when you hit a certain point, you roll in the evolution table. So it's like the character creation process, but without you going through it, because you're starting off as an astronaut with different skills, but you still have the potential for mutating.
yeah,
And I had fun with that.
a lot of Gamma World inspiration right
Oh, yeah.
there, I would say. And I own
Oh,
the
yeah.
first issue of Gamma World. Rest in peace to Jim Ward himself. It was and then
Gamma
Barrels,
World will always be one of the top classics.
yeah, Barrels of Borderlands. He has a mutant class, and
Mhm.
even if because I think my Alex Jones parody character during that session, we got caught in a radiation like sandstorm for like so many times, and I think his character got radiated like I don't 6 or 7 times. So I had like translucent skin. I had like 7 more arms. My 2 main arms got buff and beef. I got claws at the end of them. I don't know what else. He had like 7 different mutations, I think, from just
Well,
trying to get
all
through
of
that
that
storm.
that's worked into Dystopian Dawn too. If you're a mutant character type class,
Yeah.
then like radiation heals them, and the more they absorb, they can mutate. Humans can also mutate, but if your fitness isn't high enough, you can also die. So
Yeah.
mutants don't have that risk.
And then the Green Skull race option in Bears and Borderlands is completely immune to anything radiation. So, like, one point playing him, we fought against a radiation dragon, and the radiation dragon was blasting beams like straight, like, and I'm just standing there, just like, I'm getting a nice 10 here, kind of deal. So,
We had something similar when I was playing Danger Zone. They ran into a group of
Danger Zone!
cannibal mutants, and one of the guys, another mutant, got thrown into a toxic pool, and that was the first time they realized that mechanic of, wait a minute, hey, this feels great, thanks.
Oh, well, Tony, this was a fun conversation. I'm glad we got to
As
have you back
always,
on,
thank
and
you.
looking forward to getting these new books you're about to release. Always looking forward to definitely, especially when we start bringing the other continents. We're definitely looking forward to like Faye, and then the dystopian Australia. That will be fun for
Dystopian
sure.
Down Under, Monster Island.
Oh, that sounds like it would be really cool. Like game show theme, like
Well,
like campaign, like welcome to dystopian down under here in the
the
down
way
under.
the way things are going, Dystopian Down Under is probably going to get published before Mythos, because one weekend I just had brainstorm and 90% of the book is already written. I've already written up all 40 of the monsters, and I've already written up the core areas. I just have to write up regions for the local Aboriginals that are still living there, because each one serves a different kaiju. Take care, Richard.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
besides the links I shared already in the chat, which I'll repost at a later time, I know you have an X. Where can we find you on there?
Dystopian Dawn. Tony
Yeah.
at Dystopian Dawn.
Yep.
This here. Look, Tony at this.
Yep. Yeah, that's what it's at Dystopian Dawn. That's right. I forgot because it's your name on top, and it's Dystopian Dawn. So yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, I
everyone.
like to be very cryptic with everything.
So, hey, everyone. I will say I know it's been a rough week for a lot of people, and I already covered that in a live stream I did on Wednesday. So if you were wanting to know my thoughts about that, you can go watch that if you want. I'm not going to bring that. I'm not going to go into detail of that here, but this just did doing this for a nice little change of pace. Even though it is eerily like we're talking about dystopian dawn with everything going on, but hey, it's the weekend now. Have a drink, go play a game with some friends if you got them, or with your buddies online, like I usually have to do at the time because I can't find anyone near me. So, and just try to do whatever it is you take your mind from it. And like I told a buddy of mine last night, get crack with a book with your kids or your family, and just give them a good hug, hold them tight, keep them close, because you never know how long you got with with your loved ones.
Absolutely.
All
This
right.
was I gotta say, this was a nice way to end a crappy week. So,
Yep. So thank you again, Tony, for coming on, and
thank you.
everyone else, have a wonderful night.